I didn't think this was my intervention. I knew you called me over here last minute, but I didn't think it was a fucking intervention.
Well, talk to me. How many water bottles do you think you drank in your lifetime?
Interesting question.
Yeah, eh?
Interesting
Yeah,
question.
You if the business is true and you stay hydrated, fam, reach.
Then you're a sick to my stomach, fam. How many water bottles? I mean, I can't fucking count, but I'll tell you this. When I was with my ex, she was like...
Drinking mad water.
Well, the thing is... I kind of had this stupid pride in like, fuck it, tap water's the move because I live in Canada and it's this great, clean place. But I've since done the deep dive.
Great, clean place. Yeah. Maybe when we get a new prime minister.
No. Hold on. I'm trying to
got you with that one.
No, because I'm trying to
Harley's
I'm trying to turn this into a joke.
He's ready to go.
I'm trying to turn this into a joke about Jagmeet Singh, which is its own joke right there. So
did you hear the truckers were right, man?
And don't, bro. I'm gonna be fucking.
The truckers were right.
Bro,
they were far right.
Federal judges actually deemed it so.
I'm gonna be leading the NDP in
I don't
10
know what
years,
that
so
even means,
do not disrespect my.
What do you mean you don't know what happened today?
No, I don't get much news at the camp.
Oh,
yeah, no, Lynch. We don't get our news from that private Facebook group.
from
this
Rebel
is actually
News.
this is actually everywhere, including the CBC.
Oh, it's everywhere.
Yeah, you didn't see this? Like, you guys were too caught up, huh? Harley was too busy getting
dapped
unlocking
up,
solid snake,
getting dapped up by Abu El Baghdadi.
No, a federal judge in Canada said that the government illegally, when we had all those
invoked the Emergencies Act,
and that's like official from a federal judge.
Well, you know what happens with
they're going to appeal it, yeah, of course, but it's still not a good look, I would say.
No, but
tell everyone listening what you're talking about.
Well, I think this is like when America actually started caring about what's going on in Canada for like the first time ever was when we had the trucks descend on Parliament and block different access points.
Tell them what Parliament is.
Parliament is like our
capital. Our Capitol Hill.
Yeah, essentially. And they basically honked their horns and blocked traffic for an extended period of time and blocked traffic routes like at certain border points for goods to get in and out. And it was a very large movement. This is during the COVID
It was
era.
like during COVID vaccine and stuff. The truckers felt like that, like they had to get vaccinated to be truckers.
Yes.
And they didn't want that. People didn't, so they stood against it. And they did this thing called the Freedom Convoy, where they basically locked down our capital for weeks. And
they really locked it down. Like ambulances
ambulances
couldn't drive. People couldn't get to work. It was
I have a friend that has a business right in the middle of it. He couldn't go to it or do anything.
I read one thing where people were like, they're like, oh, if you lived in right next to it,
yeah, your life was ruined
24/7. And I was like, honestly, if someone was honking horns 24 hours a day and outside my window, that's assault. Like, I would actually go fucking postal. Like, I would not.
Me too. I would be popping shots from the fucking rooftop at that point.
But all that
popping shots from the rooftop.
But the basically the police were not able to effectively manage the situation, like, according to them and according to the federal government. And the federal government was like, you know what? We're going to put into effect the Emergencies Act and basically confiscated any money donated to their cause was basically
all their PayPals got shut down.
Everything got shut down.
Which, by the way, I always thought was really crazy.
Well,
I
also
think that's the part that freaked most people out.
Seizing the bank accounts of the people that donated as well, even if it was only $1. And a lot of those people that donated were police officers. So it got a little hairy.
Yeah.
I don't know the details. I can't really comment on it. I don't know why they said it was not like a proper evoking of the Emergencies Act, but it sounded like at the time I saw how it was like strategically necessary. Because the way these governments work is like you have the authority to do things, but you need to like access the right authorities. You can't just be like, oh, let's bring this in. Like, no, there needs to be like legal grounds under which you made a decision. And so when they're asked, well, what did you do? You're like, well, according to section blah, blah, blah of the Emergencies Act. So that's what they did. Was it not proper in the end?
Well,
I don't
according to
know.
this federal judge, it was improper. It was not justified.
Right.
I think
2
it's a
years
pretty-
later,
I think the
Monday
like,
morning
standard,
quarterback.
You'd have to think the standard in order to start freezing, like just basically like martial law or whatever you want to call it, like become like an autocratic state or whatever you want to say it is, like where you just go out there. That's not I don't actually mean that.
I know.
But what I mean is that like the capacity to go and just take people, like freeze people's accounts, like infringe on their liberties. You know, we are in a democratic society here, and that is like a fine line to allow the government to do what they want. I'm not saying anything other than if someone was honking their horn outside my window, I would lose my fucking mind. That is all I really thought at that moment.
Yes, but I also wouldn't want their bank account frozen.
Well,
that's weird. Yes,
frozen. I mean, frozen.
Just
frozen until they stop.
Don't even touch it. Don't even touch that.
So
like don't. You're not allowed to touch it unless, of course, my name is Abu al Baghdadi. Yeah, and I have 7 fingers in there. Then you fucking. But I actually think like don't do that. There's certain things. There was a couple things over pandemic that were, to me, I definitely lean. I got 7 needles. All it needs to be said. But there's still a couple things where I'm like, yeah, that I don't like though. You're making it real hard for me to be out here and take my needles when you're doing some of these moves. I think it's great. Listen, if the bank accounts are frozen and everything de-escalated as it did, and now they're being sued, that's okay. That's fine. You know what? If that's how it is, if it had to de-escalate, and maybe they were aware that was an L they were going to take.
Yeah.
Maybe that they're aware that like, we're going to do this
risk.
And we're going to get hit later, but so be it, you know? And,
because in the meantime, you got babies being born in fucking living rooms, right? Because people can't. They really jammed up a big city.
Donnie, you say this, and then what's crazy is that I didn't really. I remember I was like taken back to that time because it feels so kind of long ago.
Yeah, you got that hat with a black Canadian flag on it. We remember.
Stole from me. But I actually wasn't as caught up in this specific thing, other than all the honking and like near my apartment. Actually, there was protests happening near me, and really it was just like I had just had a child or was having a child, and so my brain wasn't really being critical of everything. I was just sort of trying to get defensive. I was just trying to get by, like in my own little life, you know,
just to get by.
Yeah, in my own little life, and I was just taken back to that moment.
Little life is right, by the way.
Don't be rude. Oh yeah,
little life.
Yeah, that's true. My blessing. That's right. That's right. I didn't like really fully take in what was going on to the full extent, and now that I see this, I'm like, oh, that's interesting.
Trouble.
Yeah,
Harley and I